So this big canvas that Danika is standing in front of is just an abstract that Scott made with paint.
What I do is on some of these canvases, when I am doing something with acrylics, I hate to waste paint, so I just have a canvas and I just put the excess that I'm cleaning my palette off on, and those often will become something I'll paint on.
Try reaching forward a little bit.
So Scott's just using like the LED lights that are above her, so he didn't even have a spotlight on her. So I was just trying to show you some images of the photo shoot, and this is a piece of metal. And then
Yeah, it was from a collapsed barn on our property that was from 30 years ago, and so I found that and thought that would be an interesting background.
and he's just using the natural light from the window. So if anybody has a big window, like a big sunroom, you could do this where you turn all the lights off in the rest of the room, because you don't want that double light or hitting or filling in the shadows. And he's just, you know, he has his camera on the tripod so that he can do a longer photo.
So I won't get the jiggle on the.
Why isn't this starting?
I don't know, maybe there's not much to it.
Huh, I don't know why some of them are
These
doing
were
it.
done by Danika's
boyfriend.
Orlando,
Wait,
who
why is-
we've painted also.
So anyway, so Danika's boyfriend came and just did some like. So you see how many photos he gets a lighting, and then he keeps the camera on the tripod, and he just has her move and change looks. It's much better, you know, for like you to stay still and just have the model kind of move her head. Because if you're moving around all the time, your photos can easily get out of focus, or they could easily lose, you're not checking the aperture,
You see
right?
here now, I've moved the easel that has the background on it. I moved it more this way, so she's getting a little more straight on light. So since I don't have a light and can't move it, I move the model or the setup so that you can get different kinds of lighting. And this one, I also turned on the overhead fluorescence. So we're getting the north window and the overhead fluorescence that were in
So
Sue's
Scott,
studio.
how many photos do you think you took?
I took about 1,500 in 2 hours.
Wow, and then you took some outside too.
Yeah, we did outside. I'll show you some of the pictures that we shot.
Yeah, so he took some of her outside, and anyways, I wanted to show you guys that. And then I don't tend to work from photo shoots that I'm not there, but for future online classes or for teaching, I'm always looking for great photos. So I went through Scott's folder, and it's so pixelized. Oh, here we go. I went through Scott's folder, and I just with different lighting, like some with side light, some with the hat, you know, some with the different colors. And then these were some that he took of her outside. I mean, look at this one. It's so beautiful, right? But this is just the light from
That's
the
just
sky.
right
and the
behind my
trees.
studio. So yeah.
So I just chose a few of these because I thought that for future classes, I could use some of these for like future classes. But giving you guys hopefully ideas about photos and the fact of just taking so many. All right, so now I'm going to leave this to Scott, and thanks for listening.
So I thought I'd just show a couple pictures here, just to give you an idea of trying different poses and lights. Like I said, I just keep shooting a whole bunch of them. This was lower light, so that's where the using the tripod helps, so you can zoom in. But it's just kind of playing around, and the model, sometimes I'll have ideas, and then other times I'll just tell Danika,
Well, she brought that
"Move,
dress.
try
It's
this."
great.
She had brought this dress with her, so I thought, oh, that's great. Now, generally, when I do these photo shoots, I have her bring a couple different things to wear, and I have different things. These are just jewelry from Susan's that she had, and different head scarves that Sue had. You know, so this was something she brought to the hat, and a couple of different things. So it's a completely different look. And you just have to experiment and keep trying things. Try this, try that. Some pictures, even as you're taking, you think, oh, this isn't that great, but you try them, and then sometimes you look at them later and they end up to be actually ones that you really like. So like this here is with the lighting, this is the ones that are just right from the side. So it's coming right from Susan's north windows, right from the side. So that's see how even with a hat on, she's getting, her eyes are lit up. She has a highlight in this side. And so this is the kind of lighting that if I was doing a portrait commission, I would suggest. Again, like Sue was saying, if you just shut all the lights off in a room, and maybe even if you have to block a few windows out with some drapes or some cardboard, this is side lighting is going to be, most of Sargent's portraits commissions were side lighting because again, you can see the eye nicely. They're not hidden in shadow. Now the hidden in shadow is great for some things when you're doing dramatic stuff, but if you're doing portrait commissions or stuff, you're usually going to want more of a side light. And it depends on the person too. For some people, side light doesn't look as good. Overhead looks good. So you can see those first ones I did the overhead lighting. And then this is outside, just behind my studio. We just took a really quick bunch of different ones with some leaves. We zoom in here so you can see a little bit on her face and stuff. This is the scarf of Susan's, and you can see the, you know, the detail and stuff. So I just thought it would be a fun one to try. 18 by 24. And yeah, it just stopped me if, what I did is I actually photographed this. I had my camera on a tripod from the side, like, and then it took a picture every minute. And so I've got a whole bunch of the pictures, but I just selected a few. So here I'm just sketching it out with a little bit of yellowish or yellow ochre or something. And I put these gloves on because I've started using them when I use those rubber tools to block things in because it gets so messy on my hands. Normally I'm not very messy, but holding those rubber tools. So you can see how I'm just vaguely, oh, and I straightened this out in Photoshop. So I've showed that in some other videos for photographing paintings. Even though I shot it from the side, you get distortion. I used the perspective crop tool and then the resizing. So I won't try and go over that here, but that just gives you an idea of how I straightened this out as I photographed it. So this is kind of where the sketch was. I started out and then I started blocking in, and you can see here how what I'm blocking this in here with is just one of those silicone rubber tools that you've seen me use in various different things. I think this is called Catalyst, and you can get them at any art store. They're originally used for cleaning bowls, like for cooking and stuff, for baking. All right, so now here I'm just blocking in the big shapes. Here you can see the rubber tool, the Catalyst rubber tool here. So here you can see there's the rubber tool as well, and I'm just blocking it, kind of using it as a palette knife to just block in big shapes. And it's fun. Blocking in is my favorite part. Yeah, this surface was a gesso, like a cradle panel, on a wood panel that's on a little like frame on the back, cradle board they call it, and it was extremely slick. I've not worked on one that smooth. It was almost like working on glass, and but it makes it easy to push the paint around. All right, so you can see here I'm still just blocking it in as big shapes and thick stuff. I'm not really worried about the edges or anything at this point, just trying to get the values and the shapes right. Okay, so then once I go to this next one, you can see here I've started to soften. This here is if you see here now, I've softened things out from my initial block in. So I've just taken a like you've seen in some of the demos, if you've seen some of the demos that we put in, where I'll take the softer brush and I just start to mush things together and soften certain areas, and I start refining and all. So it's like I start with that big, and sometimes you leave the big paint and you see all these shapes. I can almost stop at different stages, and this would still be a fun painting. So, and that's kind of the difficulty, is deciding when to stop. That's another one of those rubber tools. It's just more of kind of with a handle on it. And so here you can see the face a little more in detail, and some of the playing around with the background. And I decided to put this outline in. So this is showing you all the darks have gone in this picture. I had one that I shot a little lighter, but it would be nice to show you how to adjust this. Now the lights have gotten kind of off the edge here, so you can bring these back. So this is plotting all the values they called this a histogram. So you can see they're all stacked up towards the dark here. So as I move this in, it's making our whitest white white. If you go too far in, you see all the lights become blown out. So we'll go maybe there, and then you can adjust this middle part back and forth, okay? So that kind of is one of your simpler things that you do. And then we showed the hue saturation. So I already showed you how to do the thing with the highlights and shadows. Let me show you what I generally would do. Now, I generally put these in layers. So that's one of those layers things that you'd open up, and I duplicate the layer. So now I've got the same picture stacked on top of each other. So the nice thing about that is I can actually go in there and I can change the way the layer does it. So I'm going to change this to say, so you see all these different ways of composing these two images. You can go down the list and you see this is screen, so that'll lighten it up quite a bit. All these different possibilities of ways of blending things together. So I can do screen here, and now it lightened the picture up. So I can turn that off, turn that on, and flatten image. And now you can see in the history, this was the original picture. And then that's kind of what I changed it to. They're both interesting. They just have a different mood to it, really.